Kasongo William Ruto has continued to show his skill when it comes to stealing public funds. Kasongo is like a thief in Nairobi City who steals you, and at the same time he sounds an alarm that you've stolen him so that people can beat you. William Ruto came out to say that Parliament demands bribes from the executive to do some things, not knowing that he is the master of corruption and bribing. In the history of the country, I think William Ruto is going to go in the Guinness Book of Records as one of the biggest thieves in this country. Remember when you were just finished election, I was supporter of William Ruto, but he ended up bribing political parties like UDM and others to form the majority. That was a bribe. You cannot tell me that they just came in. Okay? At that time, I thought it was strategic, but now a thief is a thief. A predator is a predator, even if it is young or old. A snake is a snake. William Ruto coming out to complain that the members of Parliament are asking for bribe, because they have ever seen that every time you come out to pass a resolution, you give them bribes. So they will ask. Majority of members of Parliament at the worst price, they can even sell their children. Let me not lie to you. Every bad behavior, even within the family, starts with the head of the family. If a child sees a father stealing food, he will do the same. So William Ruto complaining that there is a lot of bribing within Parliament is because he's a master of this. William Ruto said this when in I think a devolution conference. He said these statements. Here's the tape.
There is something going on in our legislature that we must call out. There is money being demanded from the executive, from governors, from ministers, from people in the executive, especially those who go for accountability before our houses of parliament. Mr. Speaker, it cannot continue to be business as usual. It is not possible that committees of parliament demand to be bribed, demand to be paid for them to write reports or to look the other way for what is happening in either the national government.
That is William Ruto complaining that committees of parliament are asking for bribe. When you are master of corruption, you remember when we are going to sell a national grid and an international airport because of kickbacks. You wanted to bulldoze this through the committees of parliament by bribing them. You cannot come out and cry about corruption when you are the master of it. It seems to me that even when you are going to get some love from Rachel Ruto, you end up bribing because you think money can bulldoze everything. Okay? William Ruto is becoming a failure. Some of the things he's failing at is becoming the reason. At least we want, even William Ruto is such a thief who doesn't mind the process of stealing. The Attorney General Muturi, the former, said that he wanted him to sign a deal of the national grid selling it. And at the end of that day, when things would go to the south, Attorney General would be indicted, leaving President Ruto outside on phone, telling him to sign on phone. Such a president selling a national grid on phone, those were said by Muturi. So a person who thrives on bribing and corruption cannot be the same person coming out to cry out loud, Kasongo, you must go. To show this, even Babu Owino came out to say that in the process of impeaching Rigathi Gachagua, members of parliament were given 3,000, some 1 million. Those voices were already out. How could, the way I see members of parliament in Kenya, they turn out on time? During plenary, sometimes they don't even have quorum, but impeaching Gachagua, the house was full. And we think they wanted to paint a picture that they hate him. It's because they oiled their hands. Okay? Even impeaching your deputy, money was involved. So if a person came out to bribe members of parliament in such things, what do you expect them to ask? In fact, Babu Owino said this statement. He has the tape.
MPs are very corrupt. With that, I agree with him. They were being given 30,000 to impeach Gachagua. Where was that money from? So where did the corruption start from? The executive.
So that is Babu Owino. He came out to say that when they were impeaching Gachagua, they were given 30,000. And since many of them are in loans, of course they take just saying yes, 30,000. In committees, everything Ruto wants to pass, there are some kickbacks. So a president cannot come out and complain. The leader of a family has a vice. That vice will be transferred to his children and wife. Because the reason as to why the head of state is, the president is called the head of state, the fountain of honor, and all other titles, is because he represents the country. If the head is rotten, there's no way other person can be okay. A fish starts dying from the head. To confirm this, even the MP Shabir Shakir came out to say that members of parliament were bribed. How he said these statements?
Did you impeach Rigathi? Who's going to admit? Are you going to admit? Are you going to admit? Yes? Mm-hmm. You think Rigathi was just, all of us were ready and we just voted him out? It isn't the case. You, executive, are the givers of the bribe. You want a certain reaction, and you come and buy the certain members of the parliament, and you know you'll buy them. There are cases, if the executive, the minister is doing something wrong, and the report shows that he's doing something wrong, he's going to come and try and bribe them for the report. That's the truth of the issue. Let's be very blunt about it. Dr. Mukali Muli says he's been there 13 years. I've been there 18 years. I can tell you personally, so this is one of the worst parts.
Shabir Shakir saying that members of parliament were bribed, and these voices have been very many. So Kasongo, you cannot come out and start crying out loud but that members of parliament are asking for a bribe. Instead of coming out to bribe, a president was elected to act. You should come out and with a statement saying that these members who were asking for a bribe, here is the evidence, they have been arrested. Even just complaining about it without taking action, it shows you how complicit you are with the crime. Because the president is the consumer of intelligence, intelligence is funded. One of the things that take a lot of budget is the army, police, and intelligence. Instead of coming out to say those rhetoric, come out and say this and this committee, they are asking for a bribe. Here is the evidence and voice notes. We have arranged them in court. They have been arrested. Stop crying out loud without solutions. We are tired. Kasongo, we are tired of your corruption rhetoric. You're the master of corruption and bribery. Of course, that's my opinion. Do be by commenting about this. Thank you very much for listening in. If this is your first time on this YouTube channel, employee would subscribe, like, and comment so that I can be motivated to do more of such videos. I'll see you on another one. Peace.